Welcome to our casa, and today we're making seafood risotto alla pescatora. We were kind of stumped about what we wanted to make for our next video, but then we got a buzz at the door. Ta-da! Our fishmonger, Aquabest, was so sweet to send us such a beautiful care package of all this amazing fresh seafood. So, thus the seafood risotto was born. First things first is we need to clean up our mussels a little bit. These are pretty clean already, but a good rule of thumb is to soak your mussels in a salt water bath a couple hours before you prepare to cook them. This process is going to extract the sand or any dirt or any other kind of particles that might have gotten into your mussel. Now it's time to clean our shrimp. I have my sous chef back here cleaning up my shrimp, but make sure to tell them you need to keep all of the shells, everything that you have. Even if they have heads, we want to keep that aside because it's going to add such a nice richness to the stock we're going to be making later. Before you do anything else, you want to make an incision in your shrimp just to make sure that the intestine is fully removed. You probably don't think of rice when you think of Italian cuisine, but Italy gave the world a new way of cooking rice, risotto. Risotto's popularity has made Italy #1 in Europe's rice production. And there are many different varieties that they have to put them into 4 different categories. We have the comune, semifino, fino, and the best, the top, the most amazing rice to make your risotto ever, Superfino! Superfino is the best because it has an extremely firm texture and stickiness when it cooks. I was lucky enough to get some Arborio Superfino rice in my supermarket. Major score. But if you're looking for a good rice to cook with your risotto, you really want to look on a package that says Superfino or Superfine. Even though the main areas that rice is cultivated is in northern Italy, the history of rice and Italy starts down in the south. And when you think of seafood and Italian cuisine, you're definitely thinking of southern Italy. Just imagine yourself on the Amalfi Coast, sitting in a beach chair, eating fresh seafood, having a glass of your favorite white wine from Campania.
If you have to choose what's the most beautiful region in Italy, for sure Campania rated at the top of the list. Located southwestern Italy, this region has the most spectacular coastline. Just take a look at the Napoli Gulf or the Costiera Amalfitana to realize how breathtaking is its beauty. Greeks colonized this region more than 2,000 years ago. They used to call it their Felix Campania, which means their epic countryside. The wine we're drinking today is called Greco di Tufo. Greco because the Greeks introduced this type varietal into the area, and Tufo because of the soil on top of which the area of production lays. The soil can be translated into tough tufo, which is just pressed ashes that comes from a volcano eruption. We know there's a very famous volcano in the area called Vesuvio, which has been active since 79 AD. Last activity was recorded around the mid-1940s. Greco di Tufo is one of the most prestigious Italian white wine. It's a DOCG regulated wine, which is the highest classification of Italian wines, and the area of production is amongst the volcanic hills of Avellino, which is located around 20 miles east from the city of Napoli. The vines are cultivated at an altitude of 13 to 1600 feet, where the cooler climate helps the grape to enjoy very persistent summers while not overheating. therefore retaining a characteristic of acidity that is very important in white wine and in wine in general. The Greco di Tufo we are drinking today is produced by a winemaker called Villa Raiano. Incredibly beautiful estate. They have a fantastic restaurant on site. They organize guided tour. So if you need information, just check our description box and you can see website, social media and everything. So let's give this wine a try. Yeah, we spoke about how beautiful the landscape is and we forgot to mention the people, which are
gems.
just the best. The best. So, cheers! Forza Napoli!
Yes, and this would be my favorite white wine from Campania. All right, now we need to start cooking. Risotto seems a little daunting to some people, and it can be, but it also can be pretty easy. There are just certain steps that you have to follow. And for our risotto alla pescatora today, we are going to do it in 3 steps. First, we're gonna make a seafood stock. We have to cook our mussels separately, and then we can start our risotto, the beautiful building process of all these wonderful flavors that we're going to extract from the shrimp and the mussels. It's gonna be out of this world. We have to make the stock. Put some olive oil in our pan. We're gonna add 2 cloves of garlic, even with the skins on. I have 1 whole onion, just roughly quartered, 1 carrot, and 2 stalks of celery. Now I'm going to add all of those shrimp shells and tails straight in. Now we're gonna add a half a cup of white wine. You can use any white wine of your choosing, anything will work. Today we're using a Sauvignon Blanc. So I'm gonna add 1 pint, which is equal to 2 cups of fish stock. Just because we don't have any actual fish or fish bones to add to our stock, this is a great additive. We had it in our freezer from our fishmonger, and it's gonna work perfectly to add even more depth of flavor. I'm also gonna add 2 whole peeled tomatoes right from the can, straight in there. Now we're gonna top it off with 4 cups of water. Once your stock is up to a boil, we're gonna lower the heat, bring it to a nice simmer, and cover. We're gonna check on our mussels that have been hanging out in our salt solution. Just wanna go over each one again. You know, throw out any that have already opened, and make sure they're super clean. So let's check on your mussels in about 3 to 5 minutes to see if they've opened up. We're gonna scoop them out. And we wanna keep all of that liquid. So I'm gonna put it in a strainer that's inside a bowl. I'm gonna set these aside. And any liquid reserved in that mussel pan, we're gonna strain it and add it to our stock. All right, and add that mussel juice right in. So after the mussels has cooled down a bit, we're gonna remove them from their shell and set them aside for when we add them to the risotto at the end. So you can keep a few, 4 or 5 for decoration if you want. Francesco thinks it's unnecessary and not authentic, but I think it's cute, so we're doing it. All right, 30 minutes into cooking your stock, we're gonna taste it and see how much salt we need to add. Okay, let's add some salt. 2 pinches, I'd say. Since the shrimp are on a bigger side, we're just gonna cut them in half. Now we're cutting our scallops just down a little bit. Strain our broth. All right, now we're gonna start a risotto. We're just going to take 2 cups of our risotto and we're just gonna gently toast it. We're just gonna do this for a couple of minutes. Now we're going to put our flame on, add some olive oil. I have 1 shallot chopped, roughly. You don't have to be too meticulous about it. Now we add our 2 cups of rice. Okay, so when the rice is hot and you can't even touch it anymore, that's when it's time to add another half cup of white wine. Once your wine has evaporated and totally soaked into the rice, it's time to start ladling in your stock. And we ladle it in a little bit at a time so that rice can fully absorb. And once it's absorbed, then we keep adding it in. We're about 14 minutes in, and we're gonna do our final ladles. So we're gonna add our scallops and our shrimp. Now we're gonna add our mussels back in. So after about 5 minutes after you put the mussels in, we're going to turn off the flame. And this step is what the Italians call mantecatura. And we're just going to add salt and pepper, quanto basta, keep tasting it. We're gonna add parsley, our fresh herbs. And for 5 minutes, we're just going to keep stirring and letting that all incorporate together. We're also gonna add a little olive oil at this point. Look how creamy, without any cream. So after you finish this process of stirring for 5 minutes, we are going to cover, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then it's ready to serve. And some fresh parsley on top. Cheers. Thank you.
It's so creamy.
Genius. It's really good. Like it's
phenomenal. Phenomenal. And the decoration, amazing.